All right, so a rate, comparison of two quantities measured in different units. We can express it as a fraction that includes, in fact, two different units. But the important part here is that it has different units. All right, so when we have the fraction, we show the units for both part of that fraction. And that's really super important, is that we are showing both units. So top one there with the speed, right? We've got 800 kilometers per 20 hours. And we'll use the word per in that middle for each 20 hours. Our units are kilometers and hours, and we have to have both of them. Or the growth rate of centimeters and months. We gotta have both of them. Typing rate, 60 words per minute. And we use this word per when we're writing it, when we say what's going on with that fraction line. All right. And always, 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 we're going to have words per minute. All right. Or centimeters per month, kilometers per hour. All right. So a unit rate is a rate in which the second term is 1. Essentially, we're just doing some equivalent fraction stuff here. Right, we've got 800 kilometers per 20 hours. To go to a unit rate there, we're going to divide both top and bottom by the same number. And we pick that number really carefully. We pick it to be the number that's at the bottom of that original fraction. All right, so 820, both those numbers can be divided by 20. And even if the 800 can't be, and we end up with a goofy number, right? We're going to have 800 kilometers per 20 hours. Divide both by 20, we end up with 40 kilometers per 1 hour, or 40 kilometers per hour. All right, so if we're going to convert from rates to unit rates, we're going to take a look here and say, okay, well, Jeremy runs 480 meters in 40 seconds. We write this as a rate, 480 per, make sure we remember the units, meters per 40 seconds. Okay, we pick this number that we divide them both by real carefully. It's that bottom number, it's 40. So we're going to divide top and bottom now by 40. What do we end up with? Well, we do a bit of math here. And we are going to come up with, we divide the bottom by 40, we get 1, that's easy. So we're going to divide the top by 40. And we divide the bottom by 40. Right? We have to do both, right? Otherwise, we're not actually having any kind of equivalent fraction. They got to be divided by the same. So our units on the bottom would be per 1 second. It's going to be 12 meters per 1 second. And we're never going to say that as 12 meters per 1 second. It's just going to be 12 meters per second. All right. All right, so moving on to the next one. We've got Aaron earning $100, working for 8 hours. All right, and so we've got $100 per 8 hours. This is a goofy one for writing units because the dollar sign, even though we say it after, it's $100, we don't say dollar. English is goofy. So it's $100 per 8 hours is going to go on the bottom there yet. 'All right, 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 ' All right. Divide both of them by that bottom number. Again, we're choosing it real carefully. It's whatever the bottom number is. We're not going to get an even number on the top, and that's okay, because we're going to have 1 on the bottom. And this is the gist of making a unit rate. Right, so we divided them both by 8, and we're going to end up with $12.50 on the top. Not a great dollar sign, but life will go on. Again, we write it initially as per 1 hour, but really we've got $12.50 per hour. This is, like I say, a weird one because the dollar sign goes in front of the number, because, like I say, English is weird. So $12.50 per hour. And you might say it that way, but in that case, the units are implied. All right, so oranges, the next one here, cost $4.68 for a bag of 12. All right, so again, it's going to be dollars on the top. So we're always going to look for dollars per orange, not oranges per dollar. And units on the bottom, it's kind of a goofy unit because it doesn't look like it has a unit, but the unit is oranges. All right, so it's dollars per orange. All right. And so we pick our number very carefully, top and bottom, to divide by. And yes, it's going to be 12. So 468 and 12 both get divided by 12. And now that we've picked that lovely number 12, we do our division. All right. We end up with 39 cents per orange. Pour 1 orange if you'd like. Again, we write it as $0.39 per orange. And away we go. All right, so I'll write it up here properly. 39 cents or $0.39 per orange. All right. Takes us on. Move on to some unit price. Okay, unit rate is just, unit price is just a unit rate. Often we use it when we're shopping, and it makes prices easier to compare. Right, so which container of orange juice is the best deal? And I guess this is a little bit of a subjective thing, right? If all you need is 412 milliliters of orange juice, and you're never going to drink the rest of it, well, then obviously the first one is the best deal because you're paying the least amount of money for what you need. But assuming you're actually going to drink all of this orange juice, something else might be a better deal where we might get more orange juice for the same amount of money. All right. So one of the things you have to look at here is if we're comparing things, we want to make sure we're comparing the same unit prices. And so we got to know a couple things about the metric system in terms of converting between milliliters and liters. So if we were to look at your milliliters and liters here, if we have milliliters and we divide that 1,000, we're going to turn that into liters. If we have liters and we multiply by 1,000, That's going to turn the liters into milliliters. All right. When we look up here, it really doesn't matter, but I'm kind of lazy, and so I want to maybe just turn my liters into milliliters, because there's only one conversion I have to do. So I multiply that by 1,000. We're going to get 1,890 milliliters. And then for each one of these guys, I'm ready to do my comparison to get a unit price. And for each of these, what I'm really going to figure out is what is my cost in dollars per milliliter. Because this is per milliliter, our answers are going to be pretty tiny, but as long as all the units are the same, works just fine. If you'd rather have bigger numbers, change them all to liters, and you'll end up with bigger numbers. That being said, not a real big deal as long as you are consistent with each one of them. All right, so let's take a peek. First one. All right. So my volume, as always, is going to go on the bottom of my fraction. And my price will go on the top. So yeah, it's always going to be dollars per whatever it is. Dollars per orange, dollars per egg, dollars per gram, dollars per milliliter. All right, so I've got $1.69 per 414 milliliters. And this is going to be equal to, when I divide them both by my very specially chosen number of 414, a very tiny number. All right, so I'll get out the calculator here. This is definitely one you don't have to do in your head, and I'd sort of recommend against it because it's rather challenging to do in your head. All right, and we're going to end up 0.00. We'll round to three useful numbers here. 408. There's more on your calculator. Dollars per milliliter. All right. Now, as I go through this and was writing it down, I'm going to remember in a moment or two here what I really was supposed to do was write down those units. I didn't do it right away, but I'll come back and make it right in a moment. What I'm referring to here is that we've got really three significant digits. All those zeros at the front were just placeholders, and the 408, that's the part that we're going to actually compare. All right, so moving on to the second one, we've got $2.99 per 946 milliliters. Terrible L there. All right, punch that into the calculator. It's going to be 0.003 something. And this is where I noticed that I'd forgotten something, and yes, we needed units up there. Right, second one here. Again, like I said before, 0.003 something, 316 dollars per milliliter. And finally, the third one, not the fourth one. All right, Here we've got $5.49 per 1,890 milliliters. And when I write this one down, do the work in my calculator, 0.002 something. And this is going to be that many dollars per milliliter. So obviously, hopefully obviously, the one that's the least money per each milliliter is that last one. And that's going to take us to our best deal. Right. And as I continue here and get ready to finish off, what you're going to see is that you've got your assignment to get worked on. Thank you and have fun.